Christmas in St. Louis is a special time in a special place, and a new book captures the season in words and photographs. Christmas in St. Louis, that's next on City Corner. I'm Steve Potter, and welcome to City Corner. Christmas in St. Louis, traditions, displays, and celebrations. That's a new book by our guest today, Dr. John Oldani.
Hi, Steve.
Or Dr. Jack, as you are known around town.
Around town, yes.
Well, you know, even if you don't celebrate Christmas, there's no way to avoid the Christmas season and the decorations and festivities that abound.
No one's immune. No one's immune. It's everywhere, but unfortunately it is everywhere because it speaks to, I think, an importance for a spirit, community, compassion, care, brotherhood. A lot of things are wrapped up in the whole idea of Christmas.
Now, Dr. Jack, you have a PhD in American Studies.
That's correct.
I've got that right.
That's right.
And you've written a number of books. Is it close to a dozen?
No, this is 7 now. 7 books on St. Louis traditions
like
and
I
culture.
said, close to a dozen.
That's close.
But and we've had you on before, things like St. Louis folklore and that sort of thing.
Passing it on, and I did. In fact, there's 4 volumes of that that includes applied folklore, which is really anthropology, and I just finished that one called St. Louisisms. So I cover the spectrum.
Well, what I really like about this book, because you inject your own histories and stories and folklore of the Christmas season, but also with a ton of photographs of Christmas displays and that sort of thing from around the region.
Yeah, we have over 250. Mark Abelin, who's a terrific photographer, done several books on St. Louis, including one on the churches, took over 800 photos. And it was difficult to decide which to put in there. But we tried to capture the retail and the commercial and the community spirit of St. Louis.
Mm-hmm. You begin your book by pointing out, and I want you to explain that. Explain this, that Christmas in America, you say, had a checkered past?
Absolutely, absolutely, Steve. It's some people call it the war on Christmas. And the whole idea was that when the Puritans and Pilgrims came over, they banned it. No one was allowed to celebrate Christmas. But somehow the grassroots or the underground, way back when in the 17th century, kept it going. And so the first official Christmas was, I think, 1686, officially read in the journals and diaries in Boston. And since then, it never stopped. But there have always been people trying to say it's too commercial, or let's not do this, or keep the real reason for the season. We're always going to get that, which is fine. But the whole idea of the community and the compassion and the brotherhood and the family and the fact that they're all one has always come out in Christmas, and it's now official.
And you make the point that Christmas did not become a legal holiday in this country till something like 1870. Would that be President Grant?
President Grant signs it on my dad's birthday. My dad wasn't born then. It was June 26th. It's an official holiday now.
Well, so what you did is you compiled photographs of just interesting Christmas displays from all over.
Yeah, in fact, we went all the way to Herman, Missouri. We went down Herculaneum, that area, to Illinois. So we got the St. Louis metro area covered because there are just so many different things. We wanted to show the spirit of it in all ways.
Well, let's get right into that.
Sure,
because
let's
the
do that.
images
I like
are
that.
really an important part of this whole story. This first one is Lafayette, comes from Lafayette Square.
Yeah.
And these are the doors of Lafayette Square.
It's one of my favorite pictures, Steve. This came out really well. And the whole concept of that, again, which is the tradition of it, started in Soulard, where the doors were to be covered with wreaths. And the wreath, of course, is an an ancient symbol of what Christmas means, with the evergreen and the life force of it in the dead of winter. And of course, it's the circle, which is perfection, no beginning, no end. And so Soulard put out notices to all their residents decades ago, enter every heart and every door. So they wanted to make sure that the compassion of Christmas and the community spirit was there. Lafayette Square followed, and these are the doors that you see there. And there are many more, but I think it's really nice to show.
The architecture is really beautiful.
It really is,
Let's take a look at the next shot. This is Candy Cane Lane.
Oh, Candy Cane Lane. That's in St. Louis Hills. This is really fun because they've been doing it for years. This is, I think, the 6500 block of Murdoch in St. Louis Hills. And it's spawned all kinds of other things. There's Reindeer Lane, there's Snowflake Street, there's even Angel Avenue. And it's just fun, a nice visit to St. Louis Hills, which is a nice neighbor in southwest St. Louis. And all the neighbors were in the spirit. And I think it underlies the concept that we really are one, and it shows the diversity can come together in the city of St. Louis, in the neighborhoods.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about people's memories of St. Louis and that sort of thing. One of the things I barely remember myself, but I guess I've heard more about it than I actually remember, were like the department store windows downtown.
That was a celebration for people. I mean, it was on the calendar the day after Thanksgiving. By the way, I discovered that a lot of times it came after Veterans Day or start on Veterans Day, and then Thanksgiving becomes the official day for it. And some people came back and said, well, we used to go down right on Veterans Day. But what happens then was that the people had a certain clothes, you made a day of it, certain places you had to eat, and then you walk from Famous to Styx, known as the Grand Leader, and to Scruggs, Vanderbilt, and Barney. And in each place, of course, you saw Santa, and he had different things at different places, like the train in Scruggs. You had to ride the train, and you always got a gift. It was usually a stuffed animal, but it was based upon your age and gender. And it was really fun to see. And what they did in those windows really highlighted the whole tradition of St. Louis.
Does anyone down there do anything like that that you know of now?
Well, no, when Macy's came in and took over at Famous, the demand was so great, they weren't going to do it. The demand was so great, they decided they better do it. So they put some trains in the window, and not nearly as elaborate. But then Macy's did sponsor the Festival of Lights in Keener Plaza, which continued that tradition. And also work with Airmen on the parade.
That brings back fond memories, like when people would dress up to go downtown.
I
I remember so well, even at my age, dressing up to go shopping, dressing up to fly in an airplane. We even dressed up to go to the movies.
Absolutely.
Who does that?
We did also. And you had certain clothes. And then you got to eat at the Forum Cafeteria, which is no longer there, or another famous place downtown. It was a real experience for kids.
Let's take a look at some more pictures from Christmas in St. Louis. This next one is the Styx Castle. Is this referred to the department store?
Yeah, this is Styx, the Grand Leader. This, I think, is a picture from 1959, where they actually brought the windows outside. They put together a medieval castle, and you would go in and see some of the people dressed in Renaissance garb and Renaissance fair. And when you walk through it, sometimes you go upstairs to the Pink Cloud Castle, and you would find these young maidens who were giving out Christmas gifts, and you welcome Santa and his castle. Yeah, this is interesting because it covered the whole area outside.
This next one's the planetarium, and I sure remember, I guess a lot of people, do they still do that, the ribbon?
They do. In fact, they just put a gold one on there now for the golden anniversary.
In your book, you talk about a legend of how this started. I don't know if it's true or not.
No, this is an urban belief tale in St. Louis that there are some Washington U students who claimed that in the 60s they were able to get the blueprints for the planetarium. And avoiding the guards at night, they climbed on the planetarium to put this ribbon around. And they sent a note to the Post-Dispatch saying that we did this kind of, using our vernacular, punking the city of St. Louis with this red ribbon. Well, what they did was they used the same kind of thing from Santa, leaving a note saying, guess who did this? Santa was here doing it. And there are other legends saying there were 12 men who did this, there were 5 men, there were 4 men, but it keeps going, and it's a good one for St. Louis.
College students doing a prank, I find that so hard to believe. And of course your book covers a lot more than just the city of St. Louis. This next one is a shot from St. Charles, like what they call that, Old Town?
Yeah, St. Charles brings people from all over the country there. Many times it's in Midwest living. This is the Parade of Santas, where each Santa is filled with the traditions from the country he represents. I think there's close to 60 of them. Someone said at one time they had a couple hundred, and I'm not sure if that's true, but these guys would carry these cards like baseball cards, and on the back would be the traditions from that country. And it's really a nice thing to have.
Next shot is St. Ambrose.
We have several sections of the pictures from the hill, and St. Ambrose, of course, with the Italian traditions and the poinsettias, and the green bunting. That makes a beautiful sight.
You know, we were talking about the downtown store windows and other memories. Things I can think of that sort of represent St. Louis, I think you probably touched on all this in your book, is how about the Christmas trees at Ted Drew's?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Ted Drew's father, we got a picture of him in the book, I think for the 1960s, cutting down trees in Nova Scotia on the land that they owned up there, and the trees were shipped to St. Louis. So you can take the Ted Drew's ice cream, which is now still open, and he opens it for the Christmas season, and have that tradition and the trees at the same time.
And how about model trains? I remember I remember it must have been about 1960 when I was like 5 years old, getting up and having the model train under the Christmas tree. I don't know if they do that for kids anymore these days, but everybody had that when I was young.
Everyone did, and it's still being done. In fact, the Botanical Garden in 2003 started that tradition. They have trains throughout their whole flower festival. And then Dan's in Overland, Dan has several model trains outside his home, outdoors, with several trains, and his pictures around there.
I still have my Lionel, by the way.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Good.
Let's go to the Missouri Botanical Garden.
Yeah, that's the Botanical Garden.
Here it is right here.
Yeah, they do. They some really nice stuff. Now they're having kids do a scavenger hunt, going through and trying to find the little creatures or things associated with Christmas to keep their interest in the display. And they also now do wreaths from different flowers in St. Louis on the second floor, the mezzanine, the balcony, where you can bid on the wreath, which is a real good Christmas tradition. They're keeping that wreath alive. Our
next shot is Snowflake Street.
Yeah, this is in St. Louis. This is the 6700 block of Neosho, I think, in St. Louis Hills. And again, all the neighbors get together and start early, even before Thanksgiving, to get their, before Halloween even, to get the lights up.
Before we take a break, and we have a lot more pictures from the book to take a look at, could you real briefly tell me something you talk about in the book? You talk about an experience that you call Visit My Tree.
Visit My Tree. That seemed to be very indigenous to St. Louis. You used to be seeing my tree, now you've got to visit. You put the tree up, and who comes to see it? Well, nobody. Well, you got to make sure you ask them to it. So Visit the Tree becomes not only a folk phrase, but a celebration, because you want to come in to have people see the ornaments that mean so much in your life. It becomes like an autograph book. I got this ornament this year, I bought it this time, this is my memory of this, and it's really traditional for St. Louis.
Christmas in St. Louis, we're going to continue this discussion, look at some more photographs, and talk about some more traditions right after this.
G-morning, sunshine. Wakey, wakey. Text me. Are your parents home later? We can hang. LUV, love you. JK. Holla back. Holla back. Holla back. Are you with your friends? That's lame. We're in a huge fight right now. XO. What'd you dream about? Something I did? Are you on your way to the mall? I'm lonely. Nude pics. Send me some. Text me.
Financial advisor is being accused of committing one of the largest investment frauds in the history of the United States.
I guess we're not going to Aspen. That's fine. You see, I like tennis balls. He likes insider trading. So he's going to jail and I'm going to a shelter. And no, they're not the same thing. Shelters are for good pets that want to be adopted. Jails are for criminals. I've done nothing. Uh-oh. Ooh, okay, I stole a cheeseburger once. I'm a dog.
For those dealing with the struggles of caring for a loved one, we hear you. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for advice and support.
Over 13 million people are affected by famine, war, and drought in the Horn of Africa. Make a simple text donation of $10.
But do more than donate. Forward the facts.
I'm Steve Potter. Welcome back to City Corner. Christmas in St. Louis. Traditions, displays, and celebrations. That's the book. Dr. John Oldani is our guest, Dr. Jack as he's known. And that I guess, began with your students. You have a PhD in American Studies.
Yes.
And you taught for a lot of years at SIUE, among other places. 30 years, wow. And your students call you Dr. Jack.
Yeah, because I would flunk them and they connected me to Kevorkian.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know there was a story like that. That's not a Christmas story,
No,
Dr.
it's
Jack.
not. No.
You know, I was looking at the picture of the art that was, as we came into this segment, I was picturing it with a big red bow on it. I'm surprised nobody ever did that.
Oh, yeah. I never thought of that. I guess it's against a federal law.
It could be. It probably is. Talk a little bit about what the research went into your book.
It was talking to a lot of people about memories. It's what we do in field work. And so we simply asked them, what do you do at Christmas time as a rite of passage and what's important to you? And then people kept talking.
Let's take a look at more from the book, Christmas in St. Louis. And it's not just St. Louis, as we made the point before, it's from around the region. This next shot we have is from the Loop, the Del Mar
That's
Loop.
from the Loop. I like this picture because the Loop was recently, as you know, one of the top 10 streets in the United States.
Oh, yeah.
And there it is, and it just filled with the spirit when you go there. It's fun to see.
Joe Edwards and other people have done quite a job with
They
that
have, and
thing in the
Joe's
last
very-
20 years or so.
Joe was
haven't
very
they?
helpful to us. He gives us a lot of lore.
This next one is Way of Lights.
Oh yeah, this is over in Our Lady of the Snows in Belleville, and they have more than 1 million lights there, and they also have the live animals representing, of course, the manger where Christ was born. It's a real nice drive-through to see.
And then Kiel Auditorium, which is now the Peabody.
Now the Peabody. This is, I think, my favorite in all the picture because the bear in Native American culture and other folklore symbolizes the maternal image and something called eminent domain, a protector. This is my property, and so the bear majestically sits there in front of Peabody. I like that photo a lot.
Yeah, I had the privilege of, I guess it was maybe it was a little over a year ago, I introduced David Sedaris there for a performance.
Did you?
And just to stand on the stage, that was the first time I ever stood on the stage there. It was quite a, it was a
great.
thrill for me, it really was.
That's nice, yeah.
I saw Hal Holbrook back on that stage back when I was in high
Did
school.
you?
And that kept running through my head.
Was he doing Mark Twain?
Yes, he was. Mark Twain Tonight. Well, what's great about your book is not just all the great photographs, but what you interject as far as stories and traditions and folklore and all that sort of thing. And I just want to hit on a couple things you have on one page here.
Sure.
This is traditions. No, that's not the one I want. That's traditions for the new year. But the one I'm looking for is here. St. Louis folk beliefs and traditions. So I just want you to comment on a couple of these.
Sure.
Never wash a Christmas gift of clothing before you wear it. It will wash out the good luck.
Wash out good luck, exactly, because Christmas is a rite of passage. What you got for that day will help you become better in the next year.
I didn't know this. The hours of sun, the hours of sun on Christmas Day, whatever that is, will be the same amount of frosts in the month of May.
In the month of May, exactly. So we have a beautiful sunshine Christmas day. In 12 hours, that's how many frosts we'll have in May.
And
very popular.
You swear to that?
I won't swear, but I'll have Dave Murray do that.
I love this one. A pickle ornament must be placed, because I never heard this one. A pickle ornament must be placed in the Christmas tree, hidden as well as possible. I guess I would hide it too.
The Germans were very influential in the Christmas celebration of St. Louis, and that's their tradition. You can buy pickle ornaments everywhere now, but again, it comes back to representing the harvest, which has just taken place.
And the first person to find this pickle ornament Christmas morning will have good fortune throughout the new year.
Yes, if not get married, consider it good fortune. Some people believe that.
I like this one. This is sort of something to think about. If you return a Christmas gift or regift it, and I have gotten those,
right?
It will bring bad luck to the person who purchased it originally.
Originally, yes. So you got magic, contagious magic. You got to be careful.
So stop regifting, okay? I'm sick of it. Let's go back to the pictures from Christmas in St. Louis.
Sure.
And I believe we would pick up with this next one, which is Anheuser-Busch.
Oh yeah, this is beautiful. They've done a great thing for the city, and now the InBev's there This is really nice. And again, you can drive through the whole area. It really brings out this spirit of community.
Yeah, it's quite a setting for that.
It really is. It's very nice.
And we have a window display from somewhere next.
Yeah, this is, I think, was 1936, probably in front of Famous at the time. And again, we wanted to capture the spirit of the young kids who were just filled with the whole mystery of Christmas and just loved it. Yeah, those we think were brothers and sisters.
You talked, Dr. Jack, you mentioned earlier, we were talking a little bit about the history of the wreath.
Yeah, yeah. The wreath, of course, way back when Christmas was celebrated, before it became Christianized, the wreath, of course, was a circle. The sun would come out at Christmas time, and there was no beginning, no end to it. But it was green, because in the dead of winter, you needed life. And so they maintained it with the evergreen tree. And so you kept the circle of life there, and also the symbolism of it through the green color.
Wow. Do you take a position on artificial wreaths?
They're fine.
Oh, you think?
I think they're fine. I prefer the real one, but they're fine to have that. The whole idea is just representing something in your life to keep that whole spirit going.
Also, a plant that we associate with the Christmas season, and I love getting them, are poinsettias.
Yeah, poinsettias. Yeah, that's a tradition from Joe Poinsett, who went to Mexico, our ambassador to Mexico in the 1820s. And the story was a little Pepita among many, had nothing to give the Christ child, so she just stooped down to pick up some weeds, made a bouquet of weeds, and put them at the base of the manger, and they turned into these beautiful flowers. And they are shaped like the Star of Bethlehem, and they're red like the traditional colors of Christmas.
Oh. And I learned from my grandmother, too. You know, most people throw those away.
Oh, they do?
But
no.
If you do it right, you
Exactly.
can keep those all year and
Yes.
have them the next year.
You can put them in a closet, a dark closet for a month, and they'll come out and grow again.
Any superstitions about the poinsettia?
Well, if you give them, of course, it represents love, especially if you give them out to your girlfriend you're going to be engaged to that year.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Let's look at another image from your book, Christmas in St. Louis.
Yeah, this is the cave.
Sandstone cave?
Sandstone Cave, I think, in Pacific, Missouri. And again, the whole idea of the crash that St. Francis of Assisi started, I think, in the 13th century, where he actually brought the Christ child there at midnight along with animals to remember exactly what happened that day.
Then we go to Kirkwood, to the farmer's market.
Oh yeah, this is nice. It's celebrated very well in the whole downtown Kirkwood. They've got celebrations going on throughout the season. And this is where you pick out your tree lot, because that was also a folk tradition, going with your father to pick out a tree. Usually the mother didn't go. And then when you got it home, somehow it had grown 2 feet. You couldn't get in the house.
Let's take a look at some more St. Louis folk beliefs
Sure.
and traditions out of your book and have you comment on it. And I guess we're all a little superstitious.
Everyone is. Oh, no such thing.
And you would say that's not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing. No, it's not. It's a folk belief that somehow you want to control something, and we do it.
Because there are so many things in our lives we can't control.
We can't control,
Right.
exactly.
So at least we can do this.
Yes.
Never light any Christmas candles until Christmas Day.
Christmas Day, right.
Or
bad luck. The Christ is the light of the world, and he came along with, do not put the figure of Christ child in the crib until Christmas Eve.
there's another one too about who's supposed to be able to, put the
Youngest member of the house, yes.
the decoration at the top
On
of
the
the tree.
top of the tree, and take a picture of to record that. Again, memories at this rite of passage. The youngest member of the household.
And this is interesting to me because I know some people take down their Christmas Day like the next day.
Oh yeah, that's bad
But that's
luck.
bad because you say here, never remove Christmas decorations before the 12th day of Christmas.
12th day of Christmas.
Or you will have bad luck for the new year.
That's exactly the Epiphany, January 6th, and that's changed a bit, but you still want to keep it up at least because Christmas is celebrated for 12 days. Sometimes families give a gift every day.
And I want to take issue with one of these things you have here.
All right.
If you break the ribbons on any Christmas
Yep,
presents,
yep.
you'll break good luck. I think people don't break them just so they can reuse the ribbons. Again, Dr. Jack, come on.
Yeah, saving. But that happens also in wedding showers. When you break ribbons or baby showers. The same thing happens there. Bad luck.
Because I always know when I get those bags, for my birthday, I wonder how many people have gotten presents in these gift bags before.
You're right. That's changing a lot of
Not that I'm
presents.
complaining. Let's take a look at another image from your book, and this is Kimmswick, Missouri.
Oh, yeah. Kimmswick has great celebrations. The whole town is decorated, and they have the carriage rides. And it's just the idea of the small town community still celebrating the rite of passage. It's a good picture.
And then Macy's.
This is what Macy's put into their trains. They're not as elaborate as what Famous used to do, but they kept the tradition alive based on demand from their customers.
And let's go over to the east side, Glen Carbon.
Okay. Yeah, this is Glen Carbon, Illinois, a beautiful home there, decorated every year this way, and sometimes more elaborate. And so it's good to go out and see the lights, which again is important because it gives us positivity for the season.
And this is only the tip of the iceberg, really, of the pictures you have in this book. Speaking of the east side, I know you have a picture. We don't have it right here. But Alton, Illinois does an interesting little thing in their Rock Springs Park every year.
They do. They have the Piasa bird, and then they have the celebration in Rock Springs. The Piasa bird was the bird who came down mythologically to destroy Alton and destroy human beings. And here some of the Native Americans sacrifice themselves. So they light up the Piasa bird every year.
Yeah, and you can drive through. They have lights and different displays.
They
you can
do.
drive for a couple
Yeah.
of weeks, I guess it is.
They do.
I'd like to close out the program because you have another page here, Traditions for the New Year.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see if we can get a couple of these in.
All right.
Because we all try to do better.
Absolutely.
In the next year.
Right.
Whatever you do on the first day of the new year, you will do it as a habit throughout the year.
So do something you enjoy.
So don't do anything scandalous.
No.
It's going to be a rough year for you.
You got it right.
I like this. Open all your windows at the stroke of midnight on New Year's Eve so that all the bad luck of the year will leave the house and your coming year will be a good one. Do you actually do that?
And also, people do it and sweep out the dirt from the front door and get a new broom while you're opening the windows.
Here's one that I grew up doing with my family. And you know, I've talked about our German.
Oh, yeah.
We have I think this is a German thing.
Uh-huh.
Eat pickled herring on New Year's Eve
Yes.
or New Year's Day to ensure your year of wealth.
Yes, because the herring has milk glands, and the milk glands is the reproductive urge.
And I actually like it.
Do you?
I like the creamed herring better.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I don't
Does it have to be pickled or will creamed work?
Creamed will work, just so it's some kind of herring.
Okay.
Mostly pickled in St. Louis.
Let's see. We just got 1 minute left.
Okay.
Eat 12 grapes?
12 grapes, one for every year. One for every month, excuse me. And when you eat that thing, then make a wish, and that month it'll come true.
What was the most fun of doing this book for you?
Just talking to people about it and bringing back memories for me. I was selfish because I remember all that and it was just terrific.
Yeah.
Good nostalgia.
Well, we'll have some contact information come up. It's certainly the time of year to enjoy this book. In fact, it'd be fun any time of year, really.
It would, yes.
So
yes.
whether it's in the east side, out West County, or further out west, or in the city of St. Louis, it really captures the spirit of the season visually and a lot of interesting information, folklores, and traditions also.
Thank you. Yes, I enjoyed this.
Dr. John Oldani, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks,
and have a
Steve.
wonderful holiday season.
Thanks for having me. Same to you and your listeners.
I'm Steve Potter. That's it for this edition of City Corner. We'll see you next time. Bye.